Hey all, welcome back to my channel. This is the Road to the Great Canadian Open Winter 2026. This is my series of videos that's trying to inspire people to get their armies painted, showing that if you paint a little bit every day, you can achieve great things if you are slow and steady, but keep at it. So I'm painting up my Brotherhood Without Banners army for January. It's only the end of July now, but again, I think that if you get started early, you won't be as rushed and frantic towards the end. And yeah, you know, as much as it can be hard to find an hour, if you can find half an hour, 50 minutes, I think a little goes a long way. Anywho, on today's session, we'll be applying our mineral oil wash. So we got all the base coats down, and we're going to see what magic the oil wash will do. So let's get started. Alrighty, so here's where we left off. So the unit is base coated with contrast paints using the Slapchop method. And I'm pretty happy with how they look. Honestly, if I stopped here and based them, I think they would be perfectly passable, tabletop ready. And if everyone got their army painted to this step, I think we would all have much more beautiful battlefields. But having Slapchop before, something that I'm not entirely happy with is how kind of plain green the green is. And I think when you add a brown wash, it kind of gives it a cool little extra bit of color and oomph and contrast. So the whole process is you're going to spray it. I'm going to spray it with a gloss varnish first. The gloss varnish, as I understand it, I think increases the surface tension. Again, I could be wrong about that. But the point is it helps the oil flow better into the cracks and crevices. Once that is dry, you take some oil paint, you water it down with some mineral spirits. And this is the only part where you need a little bit of practice. You need to find the right consistency. You don't want to be too thin where it has no effect and only goes in the cracks. You don't want to be too thick where it's going to stain your model. I find like a milky consistency is better. So yeah, you water it down with the mineral spirits, and then you use a brush. And this brush you probably want to dedicate to using for your oils. You just kind of lather it over your models, and it stays wet for a very long time. So the next step, it's going to look very, very messy and dirty. Now, I will show you in between steps as well, is you take a Q-tip and you soak it in the mineral spirit, just the pure mineral spirit without the oil, and then you use that to wipe off the oil that's on the surface so that it remains in primarily the cracks and crevices. So that's the process anyway. I will link a video that will help explain this better, and let's get started. So I'm not timing myself today. I mean, I could. I am curious if it'll take less than an hour or not. I think it will, because generally the steps are pretty quick. Anyway, let's get started with the gloss spray. Okay, so we are outside with the trusty GW priming stick. All the guys are mounted on. Going to give them a spray with a clear gloss varnish. Let it dry, and then bring it back inside. So we'll take a look at them glossied up once they're dry inside. See you soon. Alrighty, we are back after the gloss varnish, so you can check out how they look. So you can see quite shiny, quite glossy. This was the tester that I had done originally. Let me grab a couple of others. You can kind of just get an idea what the gloss looks like. So kind of like when I primed it from all angles. Or sorry, I should say I glossed it from all angles, and I was able to turn my GW stick upside down so that I could get underneath as well, so that I got fairly good coverage all over the Mini. You don't want to put on too much gloss at the same time, because you don't want it to be too thick, because this will prevent the mineral oil from flowing into the 3D cracks and crevices. So just a quick spray from all angles, including underneath, to make sure that all of it's covered. So that's the gloss varnish. Next, I'm going to show you how I prepare the mineral oil. Okay, so we're back, and I'm going to try and show you how I prepare the mineral oil wash. So here I've got my Winsor Newton oil. It's a raw umber, very dark brown, and I'm just going to try and squeeze out a little bit into the well here. You need very little. Normally I think I use a brush to rub this piece off, but we'll try and make do with just one hand here. So you don't need a lot, and again, I would normally use my brush to scrape that chunk off here. I'll have to come back. Okay, so I use my brush to help me scrape off that little chunk. So you don't need too much.
This is a size 1 brush, just as an idea of how much oil we're talking about here. Just a small chunk, such a small nugget. I don't know if this brush is reparable, so I definitely chose a brush that I don't intend to use for anything else. This is going to be my dedicated oil wash brush going forward. The next thing you do is you need some mineral spirits. So I got a big bottle here. You gotta be careful, this is poisonous. And I've got a pipette to pipette it in. So I'm going to suck out a large amount. I'm going to pipette in. And again, just based on my experience, I feel like about that amount is good enough. I'm going to pipette the rest back in. And then I'm going to use my brush to just wiggle around and dilute it until it's got a more milky consistency. So just diluting it. Now this well, you kind of see I've used a lot for oils, so it also reactivates the old oils I noticed that are from the well too, which is kind of cool. So that is that, and then it's all mostly diluted at this point. Just feeling, maybe I'll go here a little bit. Just checking out here how the consistency is. It's kind of hard to see, it's unblurring. It looks maybe a little bit on the watery side. So I'm just going to keep mixing it to reactivate the oiled oil that's in the well already. And we'll give it a shot. Now, if it is too thin, I can add a little bit more of the oil paint. And if it's too thick, I can pipette in a little bit more mineral oil. So really, it's a bit of practice. And the reality is it won't be consistent all the time. As long as you're close, you'll be okay. I will link in the description box below some better videos of people preparing the oil wash. So I'm going to apply it on, and then we'll come back and see the results.
Okay, so this is the mini after the oil wash. You can see that's got quite dark and quite messy. And we're now going to go back with a Q-tip and some mineral spirits to sop up any of the oil that's on the surface, to bring that back up again, and we'll leave the oil in the dark crevices. So we'll be back after we Q-tip. Alright, so we are back with the Q-tip. So Q-tipped off the surface areas, and I didn't focus too much on the browns and the grays. I don't mind if they get a bit darker, but definitely the green, the skin tone, the yellow, I wanted to brighten up a little bit. So this is after the Q-tip. He's now waiting for one last step, which is a matte varnish. So he's very shiny and wet looking, and that's not the final effect I want. So once the oil dries, that takes about 24 hours apparently, I'm going to give it a matte varnish, and then he will be Dunskies. The last question is, do I go back and paint details like eyes? Do I put blood in the spear? Do I put dirt in his boots? That's something to consider. I may not. In the interest of speed, I probably won't, but we'll see. So that is it for the Q-tip, and I'll come back after the matte varnish. I took a photo as well before I put the oil wash on, and I'll take a photo when the matte varnish is done so you can compare the before and after. Alright, see you soon. And we are done for today. So off screen I went, and after about 20 hours of waiting for stuff to dry, I was actually looking up online how much time you need to dry the oil wash, and I saw various information. Some people said it took a week, some people said it took a day, some people said it took a couple hours. So I went with about 20 hours. I let it dry overnight, and then I sprayed it with the matte clear varnish. So I used my good old GW priming stick and sprayed it from all angles as normal, sprayed it from underneath, let it dry for a couple seconds, and then I took some photos, and hopefully you can see the before and after and the effect. Now, interestingly, as I was uploading the photos, I thought to myself, you know, I don't actually know if the oil wash makes them look better. I kind of like it before the oil wash, but I've already done it now, so I think going forward I'll oil wash the rest. I do like it. It makes them look a little grittier and dirtier. There's more contrast, but they really didn't look that bad at all before the oil wash too. So if you don't think this step is necessary, you can totally skip it, and I think you'd be very happy with just slap chopped miniatures. So hopefully you enjoyed today's episode. And again, if you're working on something, you've been inspired to start your own project, Please let me know, put a comment, and talk about what you're working on and your progress and where you're going with it. Again, the whole point of this video series is to help encourage you to paint your own models too. And if you can't put an hour a day, try to find 45 minutes, half an hour, 15 minutes, but you got to put one step at a time forward in front of you to get your army done. So let's paint together, folks. Let's work together to put more beautiful armies on the battlefield. All right, I have a new haircut, as you can tell, because I'm actually going on vacation. So this will be the last episode for a while, probably about a week or so. I may or may not post updates during my vacation about some thoughts of Song or Brotherhood, perhaps. I also was looking over some stats on the Song of Ice and Fire stats website, and I might discuss that too, just keep the content going during my vacation. So regardless, hopefully you enjoyed the video so far. Again, 1 week later, miniatures are all done. I do want to do one more episode with the basing when I get back, and then after 8 hours of work, essentially, to have a whole tray start from finish to end, from beginning to end, sorry, is not too shabby at all. All right, folks, this is Clarence signing off. See you next time in about a week or so. Bye-bye.